Hare Krishna, welcome to Weekend Wisdom series on Bhagavad Gita. We are continuing our discussion on chapter 12, the devotional service. The theme for today's discussion is who is dear to God, or what qualifications a person must have to become eligible to be dear to God. So if any person practices the path of devotional service, it is very easy for that person to gain all those qualities. Just a little sincerity is required. So we'll discuss what are those qualifications or what are those qualities that a person must have, and that will make him eligible to be dear to God. So all the shlokas starting from 13 to 20 are talking about the same fact, who is dear to God. So there are different qualities that's being mentioned there in text 13 to text 20. We are not going to touch all of those qualities in detail, but I'll just quickly read them through and then we'll briefly discuss some of those qualities, and that will conclude the discussion of chapter 12, the devotional service, the second wave focused on Bhakti Yoga. And then we'll start the wave 3, which is focused on Jnana Yoga. So 13 to 18 is basically wave 3. So Lord Krishna is talking about the very fact to Arjuna, who is dear to Lord Krishna. So Krishna says that one who is equipoised in happiness and distress, one who tolerates the different situations, the problems, the difficulties of this world, one who is not disturbed by anyone, and one who does not disturb anyone, or one who is not enemy to anyone. So one who is pure in thoughts, in actions, one who is free from the dualities like heat and cold, honor and dishonor, fame and infamy, who is silent. So likewise, there are about 20 plus qualifications have been mentioned by Lord in text 13 to 20 that makes a devotee eligible to become dear to God. So we have to learn and cultivate this art of becoming dear to God with the help of devotional service by engaging ourselves in different activities related to Krishna consciousness. So let's discuss some of these qualifications briefly. So the first qualification is enemy. So sometimes we see that there are people who become our enemy. They disturb us and they might put us in some difficulties. They may create some problems for us. So what is the attitude of a devotee towards such person? So a devotee always thinks that all this is happening due to my own past misdeeds. So basically, he is not really blaming, he is not trying to protest. He is trying to take those sufferings because ultimately, some way or other, he might have created that person in some or other difficulty. So there might be enemies in our life, but we do not just retaliate against those people. We do not try to protest. So this is one of the qualifications of a devotee, that he does not retaliate against his enemy and he takes the actions of his enemies, that okay, this action has been performed by XYZ person to put me in some difficulties. It is because of some past misdeeds that I might have committed against that person. So this is one of the qualification of a devotee. The second qualification of a devotee is that sometimes we are being put into the different difficulties of life. It could be related to our health. It could be related to some sort of financial difficulties, or maybe business, or having some problem in our job. So a devotee takes all those difficulties as the mercy of God. Again, the same principle, that a devotee thinks that since I am engaged in devotional service, the repercussions of the past actions that I have committed in my life, it could have been more, but Lord have been kind enough to me, and He has reduced those difficulties on me. So this is the attitude that a devotee has. So this is a second qualification. The third qualification is that again we encounter different kind of pains and troubles. So again a devotee has this thought that all these different pains and trouble, everything ultimately belongs to this body. I am not this body. I am free from this body. So body is just a designation, the external covering, and ultimately I have nothing to do with this body. So he basically keeps himself free from those external pains and troubles of the body. This is another qualification of a devotee. Then the fourth qualification that a devotee has, that he has a kind attitude towards every living entity. Or in other words, he do not put others into difficulty. He cares for the people, and he lives through the example of not disturbing others. So this is the fourth qualification. Then the fifth qualification is that a devotee never put excess endeavors in life. So we know that the more endeavors that we put in life, the more our life becomes difficult. That means we have to spend more and more time on the different activities, the different actions that we take from time to time in our life. And those actions are really demanding, and it makes our life more challenging, more troublesome. So we do the needful, we focus on the necessities of life. We do not create unnecessary necessities. We focus on the necessities which are really necessary in our life. A devotee never laments, or he is not attached to the possessions that he or she may have in life. So for example, if some kind of theft happens at someone's house, so their money might be stolen, their jewelry might get stolen. So a devotee is not too much, fussy about it. He is not too much attached to that money. If he loses something, he may have some temporary pain because of that loss, but he is not simply driving for that loss all the time. He has to come out of that loss. So temporary difficulties we may get into. If someone, leaves body in our family, then we might, cry. But it should not stay for long. That is the qualification of a devotee. He is not just attached, or I would say overly attached to even their own family members. There is some attachment, but there should not be over attachment. Because the more attachment we will have, more it is going to create problems for us. So we have to be careful. So we should not lament. This is basically the sixth qualification. Then the seventh qualification is that a devotee is silent. Now, silent doesn't mean that a devotee does not speak. Devotee speaks, but he speaks about God. He speaks about the message related to God. He speaks about the things which are really necessary. He just do not speak for the sake of speaking. I remember my office days. So in my office, when we used to have lunch, all the colleagues used to come together to take the lunch. And during the lunch table, we used to have, everyone used to have different discussions on different subjects, and then everyone used to be outspoken in a way that they know a lot. So this is where we need to be silent. We can simply watch what is going on, but we are not really interested in getting into those discussions unless it is absolutely necessary. But if we have a platform to speak about God, then we should not be silent. So a devotee is silent in speaking unnecessary things which are not really going to benefit anyone in any manner. So this is 7th qualification. Then the 8th qualification is that, when we are doing something good in the society, we may get honor. If we do something, although good, but not acceptable, we may be dishonored by the society. So honor means that when you do something good, people recognizes you, people praises your action, your efforts, the good deeds that you do within the society. So we should not just get again attached to those honors in our life. We should simply try to pass those honors to our spiritual authorities, to God, who has made us eligible to really gain that honor by performing that action. So ultimately, a devotee passes on the credit to God and to his guru or the spiritual master or the spiritual authorities. He doesn't want to keep that credit for himself. He knows that whatever I am today, it is because of the mercy of the spiritual authorities or God. Or the same thing goes for the dishonor. When we are not executing things, we think, okay, fine, we are being dishonored in the society. It might happen that we might not have executed things in a proper way as we should have. So honor, dishonor, a devotee is not really keeping those things to himself. If there is an opportunity to learn, a devotee will learn and move forward. So this is 8th qualification. And the 9th qualification is that a devotee is always fixed in the knowledge. So whatever knowledge a devotee gains in the spiritual pursuits, he or she tries to live with that knowledge in the day-to-day lives. So there are about 20 to 25 qualifications that Lord Krishna has specified in text 13 to text 20. And he's mentioning that if we have these qualifications, then we become dear to God. So the rule is that we do not have to make any extra unnecessary endeavors in our life to gain that qualification. We simply have to execute our devotional service perfectly, properly, with sincerity and commitment. And definitely some degree of faith is also required. So execution of the different Krishna consciousness activities and performance of the devotional service on a regular basis on the practical front will lead a person to gain all these qualities with the passage of time. Just that we need to be a little patient. It's not going to be a one-day job. It requires some training and it takes some time in reforming our thought process and reforming our habits. And once all this is set, then we gain all these different qualifications. So this is one of the best way to become dear to the Lord, to gain all these qualifications by the sincere practice of devotional service and performance of different Krishna consciousness activities. So once we become dear to God, then we enjoy or relish our relationship with Him. And once we start enjoying our relationship with God, then we are not really interested in enjoying the different objects of this world, because our focus is that we are interested in establishing our relationship with God. Ultimately, our focus is not to establish temporary relationships in this world. We are here to establish our relationship with God. And for that, we have to render some practical actions in our day-to-day lives. So the practical actions could be in the form of hearing to the message of Bhagavad Gita. Like you are doing it through this video, you are hearing to this message. Another practical application could be speaking about this message. Like I am trying to speak this message of Bhagavad Gita in front of all of you to give you the insights. The another approach could be to chant the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the approach is quite simple. We just have to stay fixed to it, be regular with it, stay committed, and then Krishna will gradually clear the path for us. So from all this, what's going to happen? What is going to be the final result? We'll be completely engaged or absorbed in different Krishna consciousness activities, not out of compulsion, but out of love. Because naturally, we come to the platform of serving God. And this serving propensity is there within all of us by default. We simply have to redirect that propensity in the service to God. Now, someone may question that, okay, fine, you are talking about devotional service, you are talking about Krishna consciousness activities. What about our material needs? We need a house to live, we need clothes to live, we need food to live, we need a nice car to, move here and there within the cities like Delhi. So what should we do? So one principle is that we should be focused on the necessities of life. The necessities which are required to keep our body and soul together. Like we discussed that unnecessary necessities should not be created. And when God will see that we are sincere, by the grace of God, our material needs will be taken care by itself. God will take care of it. He's going to decide what we really need, and accordingly He will arrange for that very object in our lives. So everything becomes automatic with the passage of time, and we simply have to bring our life onto that automatic mode by giving the remote of our life in the hands of God. And how that's going to happen? That's going to happen when we are engaged in devotional service. And that is the very name of this chapter. Thank you very much. With this note, we conclude our discussions on chapter 12, the devotional service. In the next session, we'll start with the wave 3rd, which is focus on Jnana Yoga, the chapter 13 and up to chapter 18. The focus is on Jnana Yoga. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.